Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I've got, I think, 5 or 6 player props. I can't remember. 5 or 6 player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. We're coming off a much better week last week. We were on a really good run at the end of the week there, 8-0 run, and then on Friday we had 4 of our 5 legs hit. A very unfortunate miss on that 5-leg parlay, but a really good run over the final 3 days of last week. So we were on a pretty good finish. Let's carry that positive momentum. Let's go ahead and continue to build our record back up and to go ahead and win some units back after what was a very, very cold start to the year. I feel it though, guys. Last week was really good. If you could feel us getting hot, you could feel the heat. Right, even Friday, we did miss the parlay, but we cashed 4 to 5 legs. And honestly, the one leg that we missed was that Lourdes Gurriel prop where that game versus the Cubs Diamondbacks, that Friday game where that 8th inning, there was like 16 runs total score between both teams. Crazy result in that one. But yeah, overall, really good week. Let's build that momentum. Lots of player props coming your way right now. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, here. I'm going to try to go quick here because some of the games are pretty early, like this Red Sox-White Sox game, 11:10 a.m. first pitch. We're going Tristan Casas of the Boston Red Sox under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -140 over on DraftKings. Look, the data's really solid here, guys. 8 of his last 10 games, he's gone ahead and cashed the under, averaging just 0.8 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. So far this season, an 80% hit rate. 16 out of 20 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 0.95 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. Tristan Casas last year was a really phenomenal story for the Boston Red Sox. Really turned it around. He was on the cutting block, or the chopping block, as they say, and he kind of saved himself, and now he's starting to look like 2023 Tristan Casas all over again, which is not too intriguing for the Red Sox. So 80% hit rate overall this year, 67% hit rate from a head-to-head perspective against the White Sox across the last 6 matchups. They played 4 times so far this year. He's cashed the under in 3 of those 4 games so far this season. So really good numbers across the board here. We also have the insights provided by Outlier. By the way, guys, shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of today's video. We do offer a link down below in the description that gives you guys a special 7-day free trial to check Outlier out for yourself. Everything that you see in this video here is brought to you by Outlier, so make sure to go ahead and check that out for yourself. It truly is the best sports betting tool on the market. So like I said, link down below in the description, 7-day free trial. Special thank you to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. The insights provided by Outlier, Tristan Casas has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 9 games, averaging just 0.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 9 games. Kind of reiterating what we just talked about. And then the key matchup stats down below, Tristan Casas. Now, we don't have the pitching numbers for Chicago. No numbers for Jonathan Cannon, unfortunately, but Tristan Casas this year, 167 batting average overall, 30.2 WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers, 109 batting average with a negative 18.2 WRC plus. So really bad numbers there for Tristan Casas, which is why I think his under is just one of the best bets in baseball right now. Looking at what Jonathan Cannon utilizes the most so far this year, the cutter, 25.6% of his pitches are cutters. Look at Tristan Casas versus the cutter this year. 0.058 WOBA with a 33.3% strikeout rate. So really struggling versus the cutter. Now versus the changeup, which is his second most utilized pitch, not as bad. 243 WOBA, 14.3 strikeout percentage. Much better. Versus the sinker, a lot better. So some of these pitches he does have success against. However, the cutter and the fastball, which are 2 of his top 4 pitches, really, really abysmal numbers. Overall, it's a 215 WOBA on the year for Tristan Casas. So I think it's a pretty good matchup across the board. All right, guys, our second player prop in today's slate comes from the Padres-Tigers game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting this one from -135 over on BetMGM. Again, really solid numbers here for Manny Machado. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.2 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. So far this year, a 68% hit rate on the over. 15 out of 22 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.32 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. So like I said, pretty good numbers across the board here for Manny Machado. And from a head-to-head perspective, kind of a smaller sample size, but 2 of his last 3 matchups against the Detroit Tigers, all taking place last season. He's cashed the over, averaging 1.67 hits, runs, RBIs per game across those last 3 matchups with Detroit. Looking down below, the insights again provided by Outlier. Manny Machado has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 13 games, averaging 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 13 games. So some really good numbers there. And actually, we can go ahead and show you guys up above here on the chart what that looks like. So again, a 77% hit rate over his last 13 games, a really good run of late for Machado. Looking down below at the key matchup stats versus Kyler Montero. 3 plate appearances since 2018. He has 1 hit and 2 RBIs off him. Again, kind of a small sample size, only 3 plate appearances. We don't have any of the matchup stats in terms of the pitching splits for Montero, but he's pitched 1 game this year and he got rocked. He had 5 runs and 5 innings pitched with 8 hits allowed. So a really rough start for him in his only appearance so far this year. Now he gets to play San Diego and Manny Machado, who's hitting .305 overall this year with a 142.8 WRC plus. But versus right-handed pitchers, the batting average a slight increase to .314. However, the WRC plus a minor decrease to 132.4. Now, overall this year, Manny Machado has a .374 WOBA, which is obviously pretty solid. Montero's top 2 utilized pitches, the slider and the fastball. His WOBA does decrease, but 340 is still really good, which is a 10% strikeout rate versus the slider. And versus the fastball, although you do see the strikeout rate increases, 359 WOBA is still really good. It's red because it's lower than his overall numbers, but it's still a really solid number against the fastball. The further along you go, though, like versus the sinker, which 21.2% of his pitches are sinkers, a 480 WOBA with a 0% strikeout rate against the sinker pitch. So, again, overall, a 374 WOBA. Yes, the numbers do slightly decrease versus the slider and versus the fastball, but overall, really good numbers here. Machado has been cashing this line pretty consistently now for a while, so I think it's a pretty good player prop for us to go ahead and tail here. All right, guys, for our 3rd player prop in today's slate, we're moving on to the Cardinals-Braves game, 7:15 p.m. first pitch. We're going Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -110 over on DraftKings. And I will say right off the bat, risky because he's definitely starting to heat up a little bit over the last couple games. Now, 4 of his last 10, he's cashed the under, averaging just 2.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. Really, it's the last 5 games. He's cashed the over in 4 of his last 5 games. That Minnesota series was really good for him, had a really good, strong series against Minnesota. However, if you do go ahead and look at the entire season view for Matt Olson, a 62% hit rate on this under. 13 out of 21 games this year, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.76 hits, runs, RBIs per game overall this year. And also from a head-to-head perspective, 4 consecutive games against the St. Louis Cardinals, he's cashed the under, including 4 of his last 6. He's averaging just .67 hits, runs, RBIs per game over their last 6 matchups. Now, of course, all of these matchups are coming from last season, but it should be noted each of his last 4 games against St. Louis, he didn't record a single stat in terms of these 3 statistical categories: no hits, no runs, and no RBIs in each of those last 4 games. So some pretty good head-to-head data. And again, the overall data is pretty solid here. And then looking down below the key matchup stats versus Eric Fedde, 5 plate appearances since 2018. He does have 1 hit, which was a 1-run home run off of Eric Fedde. But the other 4 plate appearances, nothing. No hits, no runs, no RBIs in the other 4 at-bats. So far this year, a .233 batting average for Matt Olson. However, versus right-handed pitchers, you do see a decrease there. .220 batting average overall, 113.8 WRC plus. But the big thing for me is Eric Fedde's numbers. Overall this year, they're pretty solid versus left-handed batters, which only 32 batters face. So take it with a grain of salt. But versus left-handed batters, .225 ERA, 143 batting average allowed, 248 WOBA, all significant decreases from his overall numbers. He's a significantly better pitcher this year so far versus left-handed batters than he is versus right-handed batters. Like I said, I know Matt Olson, the last few games, he's heated up a little bit, but I do think this matchup is worth taking a look at. I probably won't put a full unit. I might just put a half a unit on this play because -110 odds, the value is pretty decent. But I think this right here, this little matchup here between Eric Fedde and Matt Olson, that's the reason you go ahead and take his under here. Again, I know he's been playing a lot better recently. 4 of his last 5 games, he's cashed the over, but I still think it is worth a shot here. By the way, guys, we're about to hit the 10-minute mark in today's video. So if you guys are still watching this point, please comment 10 down below. As always, guys, we appreciate those who watch through each and every single video here on the channel. It means a lot to myself, Ev, and Trey. We put a lot of work into each and every video. So if you are still watching, thank you. And comment 10 down below if you're still watching at this point in today's video. Let's just keep these good times rolling here, guys. All right, guys, our final 2 player props in today's slate are coming from this Phillies-Mets game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. Our 4th player prop overall, we're going Juan Soto of the New York Mets over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -125. Over on BetMGM is what we're getting it for. And look, Juan Soto hasn't been off to the hottest start as a New York Met. You had the embarrassing thing over the past week where they had to give him a standing ovation to try and motivate him to get a hit. Kind of embarrassing, I'll be honest. But overall, his numbers actually aren't terrible in terms of this line of over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this over. So far this year, a 68% hit rate on the over. 15 out of 22 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.18 hits, runs, RBIs per game overall this season. So like I said, guys, data overall is pretty solid. And from a head-to-head standpoint, again, small sample size, all taking place last year, but 2 of his last 3 matchups against the Phillies, he's cashed the over, averaging 3.67 hits, runs, RBIs per game across those last 3 matchups. Looking down below at the insights provided by Outlier, Juan Soto has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 12 games at home, averaging 2.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 12 home games. And look at the key matchup stats down below. Juan Soto, 50 plate appearances against Aaron Nola since 2018, a very, very large sample size. And the numbers are really good across the board. 257 batting average and 50 plate appearances is pretty damn good. 480 OBP, 9 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, just an 18% strikeout rate. Like I said, not crazy great numbers, but I think overall pretty solid numbers here for Juan Soto. Now this year so far, 256 batting average, 132.7 WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers. The numbers definitely decreased. Just a 206 batting average, just a 103.4 WRC plus. However, he is starting to heat up a little bit. So yes, the overall numbers are really bad here, but he is starting to increase those numbers. He's starting a little bit better. And also, Aaron Nola this year versus left-handed batters has been abysmal. 9 ERA, 304 batting average allowed, 2.5 home runs per 9, and a 410 WOBA. Really bad pitcher, and in terms of his numbers this year, and I get it, Juan Soto's numbers are not great either, but I do think, considering how poorly Aaron Nola has been so far this year, Juan Soto, who has a decent history against him, again, 257 batting average, is nothing to scoff at. I think he should be able to go ahead and have a successful game and continue on his solid form here against the Phillies and against Aaron Nola. And you look at 2 of Aaron Nola's 3 most utilized pitches, Juan Soto very successful. 375 WOBA against the curveball and a 365 WOBA against the sinker. Now versus the fastball, 234 WOBA, definitely a decrease there. Overall this year, a 359 WOBA for Juan Soto. So he actually does a lot better compared to his average against the curveball and against the sinker. And again, both of those well over 23.7% there, 27.3% here. So they're very heavily utilized pitches in Aaron Nola's arsenal. Yes, the fastball, his second most utilized pitch. Juan Soto not having the most success against so far this season. But across the board, I just think it's a really solid matchup for Soto. So I'm going to rock with it here. And for -125 odds, pretty good value for a player like Juan Soto. And for our final player prop in today's slate, you guys are probably going to go ahead and laugh here. We're going Nick Castellanos of the Philadelphia Phillies to hit a home run. I don't usually do too many home run player props. I'm only probably going to put like a quarter of a unit, 0.25 units on this one. It's kind of a joke, but also kind of not. So look, the Pope died yesterday. And not to make a joke out of the Pope's death, obviously, may his memory be eternal and, rest in peace. I don't mean to make a joke of a Pope dying, but if you know Nick Castellanos' history here, when it comes to personal tragedies, my man loves to just hit the ball out of the park. So death, taxes, and Nick Castellanos hitting a home run in the midst of a horrible tragedy or a horrible thing, he just does it. So, and look, I know people are tailing this one because when I first looked at this bet, it was like plus 625 on FanDuel. Now it's plus 560. So it's steadily decreasing in value because people are hammering this. It's a fun little bet here. He's only hit 1 home run so far this year, I believe. Let's go ahead and look at the overall numbers real quick. No, he's hit 3 home runs so far this season. Again, home runs are like touchdown props in the NFL. They don't happen too often. You can have all the numbers you want. It's a lot of luck here. But again, he's hit a couple home runs here so far this year. And, with the Pope dying, I just think it's a great time to go ahead and tail Castellanos here, who does have 3 of his last 17 games against the Mets. He's cashed the home run prop. So, like I said, I don't mean to make fun of the Pope dying, but Castellanos, international tragedy, probably a good time to go ahead and tail his home run bet. So for plus 625 BetMGM is what I'm going to go ahead and grab this for. pretty good value there. Fun little home run player prop to go ahead and throw into today's slate if you're thinking about it. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Monday. Have a great week. And let's go ahead and make some money.